Hey everyone, it's Kristan Hawkins, President of Students for Life. You know, I often get asked the question, how do you talk to your kids about abortion? And how do you describe it? So today, Gunnar and I are going to have a very real conversation about abortion. And I'm going to actually describe to him what happens in some of the most common abortion procedures. Gunnar has gone with me to events. He's obviously heard us talking about abortion in our home for many years, but Gunnar just turned 10, so I think it's time for us to have this real discussion. Gunnar, so you travel with mommy a lot for work, and you hear me talk a lot about abortion, but since you just turned 10, I wanted to kind of show you what happens during abortion, okay? Because we talk about it and we know it's bad, but I don't think you know really what happens, okay? So
yeah, because it's too messed up to know.
Well, yeah, I kind of wish I didn't know, but you have to know because it's happening, right? That's how we end it. We tell other people what's going on. So the first thing I want to show you is this is a, you see the fetal models in mommy's office?
Yeah.
This is a baby. This is what a baby looks like when the baby's 3 months old in the mom's belly. So when mommies are pregnant with babies, you live in the mommy's...
9 months?
You live in the mommy's belly for 9 months.
Elephants, it's longer.
Elephants, it's longer, right.
2 years.
That's right. But this is what a baby looks like 3 months in the womb. Do you see how the baby has fingers and toes and a nose, ears, lips? It looks like a baby, right? Because we know it's a baby. So I'm going to tell you what happens during an abortion.
Do babies get their eyes closed the whole time?
They can open their eyes in the womb. Okay, so let me show you. So during a first trimester abortion, this is when the majority of abortions happen, when the babies are this small. The abortionist uses basically a vacuum cleaner. And they use a suction tube, and it's skinnier than this, and it's clear. But you know, this is the thing on our vacuum. You know, when Dad goes underneath.
Yeah.
So they use like a vacuum cleaner, and they put the vacuum cleaner in the mommy's belly, and they just suck the baby into the tube. That's how a first trimester abortion happens. Okay?
That's how they do it?
That's how they do it. Well, it's a vacuum cleaner. It's a suction device. It's 12 times more powerful than a vacuum that we use to clean the house with.
How does it?
It's you know how when you do a vacuum cleaner, it sucks.
Yeah.
The baby's real soft because the baby's bones are real soft still, and it sucks the baby. And then when they think that they sucked all the baby out, the abortionist takes this is called a curette, and he scrapes the lining of the mommy's belly, the uterus, and makes sure there's no pieces of the baby left. Because when the abortionist goes to suck the baby, like arms and legs come off and stuff.
In the vacuum?
Mm-hmm. And then,
is that a wheel?
No, this is our this is a piece from our vacuum. And then when the abortion's over, they go back into a back room while the mommy's recovering, and they piece together all the pieces of the baby that's collected in the vacuum cleaner to make sure they got all the pieces of the baby out of the mommy's belly. Because if they leave any pieces of the baby in the mommy's belly, she can get an infection and die. Do you have any questions about that?
How does a vacuum kill someone?
Because the babies are so small and they're soft. Their bones aren't super formed yet. You know, like when we do vacuum cleaner.
When they take the baby out, is it like when they're still supposed to be in the mom's tummy, or is it after they're born?
This is after they've killed the baby. They suck the baby out of the mommy's tummy. That's how they do it first trimester.
Before the baby's even supposed to come out?
Mm-hmm. The baby was supposed to still be in the mommy's tummy for 6 more months to grow bigger. Because when you're in your mommy's belly, you grow bigger and you get stronger until you're finally born.
The thing with the vacuum after they're born, it kind of reminds me of this thing in Minecraft. It's called spawn killing. The person kills you right after you spawn, and it's an endless loop of you can never play.
Yeah. So that's the first trimester abortion. This is in the majority of abortions that happen in the United States are when the baby's this small. Now I'm going to show you something else.
They use others?
I
thought that was the worst.
It gets worse. So this is a 16-week-old baby. So this is a baby right before the mommy daddy find out if the baby is a boy or girl. Because at 20 weeks...
So they would be pretty big?
Yeah, this is how big the baby is. This is a second
Is
trimester
that
baby.
exactly how big they are? Or is it just like a small model?
The mommies can start feeling the baby kick around this point.
So it's like a tiny little tickle
It
compared
is.
to how big the mom is?
Yeah, when the baby's really small, it's like a butterfly. Feels like a little butterfly in your belly. And then when the baby gets bigger, it gets really... Yeah, that's right.
Boom!
That's what you did to me. Okay, so this is a second trimester baby. It's 16 weeks. So the baby, see how the baby grew up? It's bigger. This one's really bad. So a second trimester abortion.
These are scissors, right?
This is a D&E abortion.
Wait,
this
these are
is
actual tools of
Yeah,
them?
this is an actual abortionist tool. It's never been used to kill a baby. We bought them new, so it's never been used. But Mommy uses these on campuses to show students. So put your finger in this. Put your finger in it.
Ah.
Yeah. That's called a Sofer clamp. You see how it hurts? And it locks.
That's even more
And it locks. It locks on you. So can you put your finger in it? Imagine how bad that hurts. Just with your finger, right? This is a little baby. So what happens in this abortion, this is a dismemberment abortion.
So it just crushes the kid?
So yeah, because the kid is too big to be sucked up.
Sounds like something from a horror movie. Just smacks them down.
That's right. So when the baby's this big, it's too big to be sucked up in the suction tube.
Yeah.
So what they do is they rip the baby apart. The abortionist goes into Mommy's belly, grabs an arm, twists, and pulls the arm out. And then he pulls a leg, twists, pulls the leg out. He literally dismembers the kid. That's what he does. And then at the last piece is the baby's head.
Yeah, I don't want to see the twists in that part.
And then the doctor takes the curette and scrapes the mommy's belly at the end to make sure there's no pieces of the baby left in the mommy's belly. And then the same thing with the other abortionist. They take all the pieces of the baby that the baby's been killed and torn apart.
Kill the kid in the tummy?
The baby is fully alive.
When they're
And they dismember the kid fully alive. It'd be like you sitting here and me ripping our arm off and ripping your other arm off. That's exactly what they do. At 18 weeks, so just 2 weeks after this point, it's been proven, scientists have found out that these babies can actually feel pain. That they have nerve endings, and it's actually more sensitive than how you and I feel pain because their nerve endings aren't fully formed.
So it's even worse.
It's even worse.
Yeah, it's even worse because they never had a chance to do anything.
And they've been killed. They've been tortured. So that's the second trimester abortion.
So they just hurt kids.
So this is a 26-week-old baby.
So that's just like a couple days before.
No, this is 26 weeks. So this a baby born 26 weeks is born premature.
So-
They need extra help. So this is a baby. You were in my belly until you were
where
39
the kid
weeks.
suck their thumb habit comes from.
Oh yeah, I saw Bear sucking his thumb in the womb. That was the picture we have. So at 26 weeks, this is how big. Hold this baby. Feel how heavy this baby is.
Yeah. Oh boy, it's heavy.
So do you know abortions can still happen? They can actually happen even up until the moment of birth. Even when the mom is 40 weeks pregnant, going ready to go deliver her baby at the hospital, she can still legally choose an abortion in many states. Yeah. So this is a baby, right? We all know it's a baby. And the suction tube isn't going to work because the baby is too big.
Yeah.
And abortionists have said that this doesn't work because the skull is too big to crush. It's too hard. They don't have enough. There was an abortionist that
I hope
choked.
what they do is not legal.
Well, I hope this. I wish that was the case. So in these abortions, the most common way they commit these abortions today.
Do they just blend the kid up?
No, the most common way they commit these abortions today is they have a big needle. It's this big. And they stick it in the mommy's belly, and the needle goes into the baby's heart. And they insert medicine, well, not medicine, they insert poison, essentially, and it causes the baby to have a heart attack. You know, like old people, sometimes they die of a heart attack because their heart gives out. They give the baby a heart attack, so the baby's heart stops beating, and the baby dies in the mommy's tummy, and then they induce labor, and she gives birth to a dead baby. That's a late-term abortion, and that's actually legal. There was in New York State, you know how you like New York City? New York State, Gunner, just passed a law allowing abortion in all 9 months for whatever reason. And they said if sometimes babies are when they're aborted late term, they'll be born alive, like the poison won't kill them. And they said that the doctors now in New York State don't even have to resuscitate or give oxygen or care to babies if they've been born alive. So if a mom goes to have an abortion and they accidentally deliver the baby and the baby's accidentally alive when they deliver, they don't have to give medical attention to the baby. They can just throw the baby away. That's what happens in a late-term abortion. There's also something called a saline abortion. They don't do them as much anymore, but they would insert saline into the mommy's belly through a big needle, and the saline would actually burn the body of the baby. Saline, salt, the high concentration of salt, and would burn the baby's body inside and out, and then she would deliver a dead, burned baby.
Do you mean like the ashes?
No, the baby would be burned, like the baby would be black from the burns. You can see them online, pictures of them.
Nope.
Do you have any questions for me about what you just saw? Do you see why it's important that mommy does what I do? The why I travel when I go talk to people about abortion? Because we have to stop this,
Those are
right?
like the worst ways to die.
They are. I agree. Do you have any other questions for me about abortion?
Why do they do that?
Because
Why do they do that kind of equipment?
Well, because some people say, Gunner, what the other side says, what abortionists say, what like the Democratic Party says abortion's okay. All this was okay to the Democratic Party. And they think you and I, tax dollars, like the money mommy and daddy pay in taxes, they think our tax dollars should fund this. Yeah. So they can get money. So Planned Parenthood, you know mommy talking about Planned Parenthood? They get money. They get over almost $500 million of money from taxpayers like mommy and daddy. And they're the biggest abortionists in the country. They commit more than 300,000 abortions every year. There's over 1 million abortions in our country every year.
Is there a country that doesn't have abortion?
Mm-hmm. There are some countries that don't have abortion.
Canada?
No, Canada has...
Mexico?
No, Mexico is going to have abortions. Canada has one of the worst. They have no abortion regulations in their country. Only a few countries allow abortions this late in pregnancy. The United States, Canada, North Korea, and China. But so what the abortion industry and like Planned Parenthood and those people say is they say that this isn't a baby. That's how they justify abortion. They say that it's not a baby, so therefore it's nothing. That committing an abortion is like taking out your tooth. Didn't you ask me something earlier today?
Why is there just so many people trying to do it, but still haven't succeeded?
To what, end abortion?
Yeah.
I wonder that all the time.
We have evidence.
We do. We have scientific evidence that these babies are actual babies because we have ultrasound.
Don't we have picture and video footage?
We do. We have ultrasounds of them.
Didn't someone who worked for you like get footage?
Yeah. I have footage of you in my tummy. I have footage of Bear and Maverick and Gracie. Yeah. I have footage of all of you. It's called 4D ultrasound. We have footage. We do. That's why we show it. A lot of times in the pro-life movement, we show people pictures, ultrasounds of babies in the womb.
Have we ever taken this into court?
We have taken this into court. There's a court case called Roe v. Wade and Doe versus Bolton. There's 2 cases in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court actually legalized abortion all 9 months for whatever reason. And we're trying to get the Supreme Court. We want the Supreme Court to reverse its decision so then states can decide.
I'm pretty sure it will because Donald Trump will elect pro-life. ones.
He's going to appoint pro-life judges. That's right. He already appointed Neil Gorsuch and Judge Kavanaugh. And
So we just need
we need
all
one.
9?
We need like at least one more.
Oh boy.
This is why voting, Gunner, matters, because like a lot of people who are pro-life didn't like Donald Trump because he said some not really nice things in his life, and he still kind of treats sometimes kind of mean to people. But it was important that we voted for Donald Trump because he said he would be pro-life and he would only appoint pro-life judges to Supreme Court. Where Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, she got money from Planned Parenthood. And she said abortion should be legal in all 9 months. And she would only appoint judges who believe that.
Wait, so she was giving money to...
Planned Parenthood, the abortionist, was giving her money for her political campaign.
To one?
Mm-hmm. Because the abortion industry gives money to politicians.
Yeah, I think that's illegal. That's bribery.
Well, it's interesting how it's done.
It's illegal for a president to be bribed.
Yeah, that's true. But there's legal ways to give money from like a third-party source to a candidate to run for president. But that's how the abortion industry gets our tax dollars, because they give money to politicians who then get into Congress or wherever they're at, and they pass laws.
I have another question. How long has abortion been around?
We legalized United States abortion in 1973. Some states until that point had it. So that was 46 years ago. So longer than Mom's been alive. So it's been around for a long time in our country. And do you know how many abortions there have been since 1973?
What?
60 million. It's a lot. You know how many abortions happen every day? It's over 2,500 abortions happen every day. Planned Parenthood alone, because they're the biggest abortion vendor, they commit the most abortions. They kill 900 babies every day.
There's more companies?
There's other companies. Planned Parenthood is the biggest abortion vendor. They're like the big Walmart of the abortion industry.
Oh boy. I had a really...
Planned Parenthood commits almost 900 abortions.
I have the really good question I'm going to have to ask later because I forgot it. It was really good.
You don't know it?
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay.
It was coming right after.
You had a question about test tubes?
Yes.
And CF?
Do babies just, when they go in the test tube, they just fall until they reach the bottom?
So you're talking about like with IVF, it's called in vitro fertilization. That's how they make babies. So you're talking about that? There's a way that scientists have developed a way, if a mommy can't have babies, to make a baby in a test tube. It's called IVF. They take the part from the daddy and the part from the mommy, and they put it together in like a petri dish, and then they make the baby in the lab.
That's just wrong.
We believe...
That is not natural.
We believe this is where it's controversial, because some people who are pro-life, they think that that's okay. Our family doesn't think that's okay because it takes reproduction outside of a marital unit.
God never made us to do that.
So,
Just
but here, well, this is what's really dangerous about it. So when they did it,
there's more.
This is what really is troublesome. So not only do they make these babies in the lab, but because IVF, it doesn't work a lot, they'll make lots of the babies. So they might make 10 babies, 10 embryos. They're real small. You can't even.
If a baby has a weird disease, they just ship them off to a lab to get killed.
So what they do, Mommy was really upset the other week. I was reading something online about cystic fibrosis.
What is it?
So there was a family that had a little boy with cystic fibrosis.
They killed him?
No, he's alive. But then the mommy and daddy wanted to have other kids, but they didn't want to have any other kids with cystic fibrosis.
They killed his brothers?
So what they did was they had...
What kind of parents are they?
They don't believe what they did was killing. That's the thing. So what they did was they went to an IVF clinic and they made human embryos from the mommy and daddy parts. And then they shipped those embryos to a clinic, and the clinic said, these embryos have CF, these ones don't. And then they threw away the ones that had CF. That's eugenics. Do you know what eugenics means?
People can make a really big horror movie out of this.
They actually have. Mm-hmm. You know what eugenics is? Eugenics is the belief that some people are superior to others simply because of their DNA or who they are. Some people they wouldn't tell this to your face, but this is how they act. So it used to be in our country, Gunnar, if you were black, you know, people who have black skin.
Yeah.
It used to be in our country, if you had black skin, you were less of a human being than a person with white skin.
George Washington would go ballistic if he saw
Well,
something like that.
George Washington owned slaves. A lot of the founding fathers owned black slaves. Slavery was wrong. Slavery said that, just like, you know, and here's the thing, the Supreme Court actually said slavery was okay, just like how they said abortion was okay. The Supreme Court said that a black person was only 3/4 a white person. A black person was only part of a real, was only like partially human. But a white person was fully human. That's the Supreme Court said, and the Supreme Court had to reverse itself because it was so wrong.
So the Supreme Court makes wrong laws just to protect their job?
Well, they did it to protect the society where we were living in.
Protect what?
But that's eugenics. What I'm getting to my point is that was eugenics, where we said that certain people, because of their skin color, because of their intelligence, like there's some people who think that, you know, people who only have a certain IQ, you know, you have a real high IQ because you're real smart.
Yeah.
They think that people with a real high IQ have more value than people with a lower IQ, which is genetics. It's just the way you were made.
So with the thing where, like, when I said people think they own me because I have CF.
People don't think they own you because they have CF, but people who find out that their kids have CF, they abort them. Just like kids with Down syndrome, they abort.
What's Down syndrome?
Down syndrome is an extra chromosome. It's just the same thing with CF. It's a genetic thing that happens. But so there's tests now when mommies are pregnant in the womb, and they'll test for cystic fibrosis, and they'll test for Down syndrome. And if the mommies test positive, they'll tell the mommies they can have an abortion. I never did any tests because I knew it didn't matter if you had cystic fibrosis or Down syndrome. I'd still love you the same.
What's Down syndrome
Because
again?
Down syndrome is just when you get an extra chromosome.
What's that?
You get 23, so your DNA. So the mommy part and the daddy part, they come together to make a new human being. They each have 23 chromosomes. So you have a complete set of chromosomes. You have 46 chromosomes, and that's the building blocks of your whole life. That determines your hair color, your eye color, your personality, whether or not you have cystic fibrosis. It might determine whether or not you get heart disease or cancer. It's your genetics.
Oh, so that's how, like,
People with Down syndrome just have an extra chromosome.
the chromosomes decide, like, how I have brown eyes like Dad?
They determine your personality, that you're loud, that you yell at your brothers, that you're bossy.
They drive me nuts.
They determine your intelligence.
I can't focus when they're yelling at me.
I know. But see,
The
so
thing where I think it all the time is sometimes good and sometimes it's bad.
does the fact that you have cystic fibrosis though, does that make you
everything in sight?
does that make you less of a person than me?
No.
That's right. Are you equal to me?
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? Why? Because we were both made in whose image?
God's.
That's right.
So, like, people, like, could try and boss people, like, with my disease around.
No, it's not like slavery. They can't try to boss you around.
Like, they just walk up to you
But
and say if you have CF and
No,
you
they can't
respond
do
yes.
that. They can't do that.
They just yell at you to do what they want.
No.
Just randomly.
Nope, they can't do that. The challenge is doctors will tell mommies if they're pregnant with people who have CF that they can have an abortion. That because you have CF, therefore abortion. People sometimes think because...
So there's a horror movie about abortion?
No, there's a horror movie about making test tube babies, designer babies. It's called Gattaca. It's about like this utopian society where they try to make everybody perfect and they make everybody in the test tubes. It's a good movie to watch.
What are they? Who are they? They want to do what Adolf Hitler tried to do? Make everyone blonde and blue-eyed and just killed anyone?
Adolf Hitler believed in eugenics. He did.
So people think they're better than others because they don't have, like, diseases like me?
They wouldn't say that to your face, but that's how they act. They think that some people are more worthy of living than other people.
Wait.
Based on their genetics.
Do they just, like, if someone, they know they have, like, CF and or something, they just act like they don't deserve to have a life?
No, they wouldn't say that to you because you're born. What they would say is that when you were in my tummy, you weren't a human being, you weren't a person, they would argue. Therefore, I could kill you and it wouldn't make any difference. And it would be easier to kill you because your life will be hard.
Someone said that in my face, they would have the worst day of their life.
Do some taekwondo. But do you see what everything, all of this comes down to one central point, is that people don't believe what's in the mommy's belly is actually a human being. They think that you can do whatever you want as long as the baby is in the mommy's belly because they don't think it's a baby. They don't think it's a human being or a human person.
People think they can do whatever they want with the baby?
As long as the baby's, that.
And does that mean like some dodo bird thought, hey, I'm going to rob this kid in the mom's tummy money and doink?
Well, you can't rob in the mom's tummy.
Like, do you think some dodo thought that?
No, but they argued. So in New York State, this law they just passed, for example, they made it so if a mom is pregnant and she gets murdered and her baby dies too, they made it so it's not considered a death of the baby. Like it's in some states, if a mommy gets murdered and she's pregnant, her baby dies too, the person who murders her gets charged with 2 murders because he killed 2 people, right?
Yes.
In New York State, this law they passed just said that's not the case. They said the person will only get charged with 1 murder and they'll get charged with, I think, like an involuntary abortion. They don't count the baby in the womb as a human being.
That's like a horror movie in real life.
It's pretty much what happened in New York. And now they're trying to pass it in other states like Rhode Island, Vermont, Illinois, California.
Could people
sit down?
Could people like pass a law that could be a thing for like kids my age
No.
and someone could decide that for you?
Nope, absolutely not. That's not happening. We'll never let that happen. Can you sit up closer? Do you have any more questions for me about abortion?
I think I had like, I thought I was going to come up with a lot of questions, but with all those tools, I'm pretty like...
It's pretty scary, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you glad we do what we do to fight abortion now?
Yes.
Are you going to help me?
I don't know how to.
You don't know how to? You can keep going to my talks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you get older, you can work for the pro-life movement. You can work for Mommy, or you can work for another pro-life group. You could speak and tell people the truth about abortion. Can you sit close? You're getting antsy. Do you have any other questions? Does this make you feel better when you know that a mommy has to go away for days at a time and I have to leave you guys and I get sad? Does this make you feel better to know that when I'm gone, the only reason I'm gone is because I'm trying to save these babies? Does that make you feel any better about me being gone from home?
Pretty scary how they do that.
It's very scary how they do that.